We got a huge matchup being talked about right now with Turkey Al-Sheikh. Um, it's gonna happen on February 22nd on a big card that he's having. Um, and the card is gonna be featuring Vergil Ortiz, Zhang, and many other names. But at this point right now, this is a fight between Vergil Ortiz and Jaron Ennis that a lot of people have been waiting on for years. I know I've been waiting on this fight. So this is a big fight to me. This is something I want to see, that been wanting to see. But you know how it is. It's like when it's kind of hard to rekindle flames. You know what I'm saying? It just is. And but in this situation, it's easy to get motivated about this fight. It's just that as a fan, you know, so many fights that get announced and you get prepared for it and they never happen. Then you look at it like, oh, that's a failure where I didn't get to do what I expected to do as far as my career by now. So now I gotta rush things. And the fight doesn't seem rushed, but it seems like it's on a timeline where, you know, both of these guys are fresh into 154. So Boots hasn't fought at 154 yet, and Vergil Ortiz hasn't fought at 154 longer than a year. So at this point now, it's like, this is the perfect time to kind of make that fight. It makes a lot of sense, especially with the sport of boxing. These are the only two guys that's actually trying to fight people. It seems like those are the only two names when it comes to young guys around their weight classes, where it's like, oh, well, you need to fight this guy. They're not too young. They're at that age now where you should be getting into the mix. But just the years prior, it's always been Vergil Ortiz, Boots, Vergil Ortiz, Boots. And then it's like, oh, no, Terrence Crawford need to fight these two guys. Well, from what I've seen, it's always been easier for these two guys to get in the ring with each other. So let's just make that happen first. And that's where we're at right now. We just want to see this fight happen first. And then everything else that's a little more difficult or not able to happen at this time, then that will be the situation. But I think Jaron Ennis is going to show up and do a lot of good things, but Vergil Ortiz is going to show up and do some good things as well. Don't really have no breakdown for this fight yet, but this is a 50-50 fight, man. This is a very tough fight. They both coming off bad performances. I don't know why everybody acting like it's just one person. They both coming off bad performances. It was only one person that got dropped once or twice. So let's not forget that, by a guy who's not considered a power puncher. And they both got outboxed well. I wouldn't say outboxed completely, but they got outboxed a lot of rounds against Ukrainian fighters. So they both struggle with Ukrainian fighters in their technicality. So it's a lot of different things that they do in the ring that's similar. A lot of mistakes they do that's similar. I feel like their growth is in the same area right now. Nobody's higher than the other. It's going to be a tough fight, man. It really is. It's going to be a really, really tough fight. It's going to be an extremely tough fight. All the talking and all the hyping things up, yeah, it's going to be good for the fight, but let's just try to be realistic with everything. These guys are going to have performance of their life in this fight, because just the last performances they had against Chugazan and Bochuk, getting outboxed that way by Ukrainian fighters is just not ideal for guys who's technically sound, or that fans clamor to be as technically sound as they say they are. So on both sides, if you're a fan of Ennis and Ortiz, you have to be realistic. Those guys went against Ukrainian fighters and they struggled. So they're in the same kind of area when it comes to growth and development at 154 and your experience at that level and at that weight class. So it makes a lot of sense. It's something that Turkey Al-Sheikh has put together. This is not the only thing that he's looking at right now. He's looking at some other different avenues and situations as far as fights, but this is going to do a lot for the sport. It really is, because it's a new era now. The only guys that want to fight is guys around these guys' age. Everybody else is kind of cashing out right now. I don't know why, because they never to be honest with you, this era of boxing never really got started. It's like a lawnmower that cranks and then cuts off. And this new era, which we're in right now, because a lot of these guys on this card is younger still. Besides, most of these guys in their 20s. Besides Zhang and Cavill and these other guys, most of the card is basically the same guys, but same guys that have been fighting on turkey cards, except a couple of different names like Ortiz and Ennis, but same names, younger ages, you know, that kind of situation. Like I've been saying prior all these years, it's only a handful of people that's actually gonna get in the mix and make some things happen. Other than that, not really a lot of talk as far as fights. But that's all I got. Like and subscribe.